What's up, everybody? Josh Armijo here. I hope everybody's doing good and well and stuff. I got an album review to do for you, and I'm going to show it to you right now. This is the new album from the band Enfold Darkness, entitled Adversary Omnipotent. This is released on the Artisan Era. Now, if you're not too familiar with this band, they are based out of Nashville, Tennessee, and the best way to describe the sound of this band would be a very conceptual, melodic, and technical hybrid of both black metal and death metal. Yeah. There have been lots of albums to come out in 2017 that I've been very excited and hyped up and been looking forward to a lot. And this album in particular is very much one of them. I have been waiting for this album for 8 long years. And, yeah. My first introduction to this band was their 2009 debut full-length entitled Our Cursed Rapture. That album has a lot of sentimental value to me, not only for the fact that back when I was first starting to make YouTube videos, this album was among a handful of many that I gave coverage to and did a review to. I mean, if you've been with me since the very, very, very beginning stages of this channel, you know what I'm talking about. But also for the fact that this album was something completely different and out of the park when it came to albums put out through Sumerian Records. I mean, this album was something else. I mean, the vocal work, the songwriting, the conceptual pieces, the riffs, the black metal influence, the technical death metal influences, the melodies, the drum work. There was just so much to enjoy about that album, and I honestly feel that it really stood out to me much more than, let's say, something that bands like Veil of Maya or The Faceless or Circle of Contempt put out back in those early Sumerian days. That album is so severely underappreciated, and I feel a lot more people deserve to hear something as amazing as that. But yeah, it's been 8 long years since that album had came out, and there had been a lot of changes going on within this band's camp, a lot of trial and tribulation, a lot of band member changes, new band members, new vocalists. I had the privilege of getting to see this band live in 2012, back when, I think it was 2012, the Slaughter Survivors tour with Fit for an Autopsy and Fallujah and Igian and all those other cool bands. Really cool experience, but in between all the years of waiting, this band had put out certain songs to tide people over, to let people know that Enfold Darkness was still going on and they were still working and writing and making music. And after all of this trial and tribulation and waiting, we have the long-awaited second full-length album from Enfold Darkness entitled Adversary Omnipotent. It's 13 tracks, and it clocks in at around 67 minutes in length, and good God, is this an epic album to get through. This is definitely the key meaning of a conceptual album, because if they were going to come back after 8 years away, they were going to have to come back with some sort of a big, grandiose statement, and that's what you get here with Adversary Omnipotent. This album is pretty much done into 3 different parts: a prelude, an interlude, and 3 particular acts. Imaudi the Redeemer, Divine Alchemist, and Imaudi the Destroyer. All throughout these 13 tracks, you get a story being told and woven, and it is quite an engrossing story to behold and to listen to and to just imagine in the depths of your mind. But beneath the grandioseness of the concepts and the story behind this album, you pretty much get a newly refreshed Enfold Darkness back in the swing of things and back to showing why these guys are so good at what they do. Like I said, pretty much, aside from one of the guitarists, this is pretty much a brand new lineup of brand new people, and these people are so gifted and so talented at what they do. They really showcase a lot of hard work and detail with a release like this. Starting with the guitar work, pretty much one of the main factors of Enfold Darkness is the fact that they can switch from any sort of idea from being technical to melodic, death metal, black metal riffs, even the parts where you hear some progressive stuff flow in there. It's something you really don't see coming, but once you do see it coming, it works out and pans out quite nicely. Going to a song that was released years ago, but is finally on this record, Layers of the Ascended Masters, you get a reminder of what kind of ideas musically Enfold Darkness can toy with and create and deliver something special. But then you get on to later tracks like the Sacred Demonic, Banishment, and the Adversary Omnipotent, which is somewhat of a title track but differently worded. But the guitar playing on this album is just so immense, so detailed, so immaculate. I just love the way every riff is detailed, every solo, every special moment. It just sounds right. It feels right, and it is accompanying perfectly for all of the concepts and themes behind the songs. The bass work on here works out very well too. Just like the guitar playing on this record, it's very clear, very audible. It definitely serves a nice balance and purpose for the main guitar riff work that's being done here throughout this album. And I should also go on and saying that as this album goes along, things become a lot more engrossing, a lot more lengthier, a lot more stories to be told here. So this is definitely one of those albums that you need to listen to in one full setting and not skip through past or anything. But yeah, great guitar and bass work. Drum-wise, this new drummer has been on a tear with this band as of lately, and he is such a talented guy. He is so good at what he does here with the drumming. Of course, it has that cleanly, polished sort of feel going for it, but the way he does the drums on this record sounds wonderful. I love the emphasis of great fills and blast beats, great emphasis on double bass and snare usage. Just a very tightly wound and well-established sort of drum performance going on here. I really, really appreciate this drummer's stamina and skill, especially towards the third act of this record. Preferably the last three tracks of this record. The other song that was released prior to this album coming out, Dirge of the Surrogate Invictus, such a wonderful song that is. And then the last two tracks, Summoning the Archons and Vanish into Damnation, which is the longest song on this album and pretty much a suiting fit to an end for a record like this. Just an amazing showcase of stamina and endurance. I really love this drummer's performance here. And I should also mention the usage of keys and synths and other bits and pieces of ambience to add to the overall themes and concepts of this record. It definitely serves the purpose well. The little symphonic touches that go on throughout this record, when you hear them, they mean something. They don't feel distracting or out of place. They definitely serve what this album is about and the overall craziness that is this album's storyline and concept. And yeah, moving on to the vocals, the guy they brought in has some pretty established chops on his own. I believe he once did some guitar playing with Abysmal Dawn. I've had the privilege of getting to see this guy play live. He definitely is talented as a guitar player, but I never really realized how good he can be as a vocalist. And as a vocalist, he does some really, really awesome things here with this record. Definitely holding his own. He sounds a lot different compared to the previous vocalist, but he does his own thing, and he does tremendous work here with the vocals. I love his energy, his anger, just delivering some great vocals, a lot of great high screamed wails, a lot of great mid-range growling. You get some different sort of spoken style vocals going on throughout this record. The additional vocals that are accompanied to this album work out very well here, especially when it adds to the overall depth and nuance of the story being told on this record. But overall, Andy's vocals here are really, really incredible, and he does a tremendous job of keeping the listener at ease and making sure everything is planned out perfectly. So overall, this album is definitely a challenge when it comes to the overall length and the overall concept of things. But if you have been waiting as long as I have for a new Enfold Darkness, then I would say the wait has been well worth it. Overall, this is a very, very stellar piece of technical death and black metal. Enfold Darkness really do deserve to be in the best position of their careers with an album like this. Great music, great storytelling. This is just an awesome, awesome release, and definitely something worth having a bowl of popcorn to and just getting into the swing of things with things. So, if I had to think of any personal favorite tracks, I would definitely have to say Lairs of the Ascended Masters, the Sacred Demonic, Banishment, the Test of Wisdom is another really solid track. Summoning the Archons, absolutely killer track. Definitely worth a listen all the way through. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave you a link in the description box as to how you can get a hold of this album and listen to it. I will leave you a link to the Artisan Era Bandcamp page where you can listen to this album in its entirety, hear it for yourself, and be your own judge as to whether you think it's worthy of being purchased or not. You can stream it, buy it digitally, and it is available as a physical CD. Here you get this really elaborate artwork. Very professionally done, very badass job done here with this CD layout and presentation. There are also t-shirt and flag options available, and I believe starting in September, this band will be doing some North American touring alongside Seeker and Wolf King. Yeah, definitely check them out live if you happen to see them anywhere near your area. I'll leave you a link to the tour dates as well. And I will also leave you a link to my good buddy coverkillernation's review. He happened to cover this very, very eloquently, so I will leave you his review so you can get his opinion on how he feels about this record. So, again, the album is Adversary Omnipotent by Enfold Darkness. This is released on the Artisan Era. Go check this out. And for a score, I'm going to give this a pretty solid 8.5 out of 10. Could be a 9 later. This is definitely something that's going to grow on me with time. But yeah, Enfold Darkness, back in the swing of things where they need to be. So if you happen to have heard this album, definitely let me know what you think about it, how you feel about it, and how you think it compares to the previous releases. Or any of you guys into Enfold Darkness, let me know. I'm going to conclude this review. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks for checking out my channel. And until the next time, Army Hill out.